now. Notre Dame and YU was having already problems 15, 20 years ago with this. And Notre Dame said, we don't have any problems because we don't take any government money. So they can't tell us how to do anything. I mean, it's tremendously endowed, Notre Dame. Yeah, I mean, fantastic amount of money they have. So, but they were able to, they're able to do whatever they want because they don't take money from the government.
Okay, yeah, I guess we don't have that luxury, right? But to do shtick, right? To do shtick, he's clearly saying that we have to be on top of our game. So we have to be on top of our game in the gullus, and we have to. The Sheres Yisrael should not be doing any avla and shouldn't be doing any misleading of whatsoever. So, okay, I don't know what to tell you on that.
It's Chil Hashem, no? Is that what it is?
It was Chil Hashem back then too.
I'm asking, so what is the whole thing? What are we saying here?
He's saying, the Orchos Tzadikim is saying, he, she, whatever it is, the Orchos Tzadikim is saying that you have to be emes, especially nowadays that the gullus
pretty simple.
That the gullus is so long. We have to be emes. I don't know. It's tax season now.
It has nothing to do with Chil Hashem. He doesn't have to make Chil Hashem.
Yeah, he's talking about we have to
just being honest. There's nothing.
We have to be honest, straight and honest, and honest. So I don't know. What about if this comes up every day? This shaila comes up. The Amazon delivered 2 instead of 1, or you got back a credit and then they sent it anyways, or it wasn't delivered and they got it to a neighbor and I will credit you back. Okay, so now do you have to? Or do you not have to? Right? Do you have to tell them? Do you not have to tell them?
I had it today. The guy from LAR.
What do you mean?
Put a thing in.
Don't we say twice akum?
Yeah. What are you saying?
Twice akum. You don't have to.
Twice akum is mutter.
Right.
Twice, but here the Orchos Tzadikim says no, you shouldn't. He said you should not.
You have the twice akum according to everyone is mutter. I thought it's a whole shiloh.
It's a shiloh meaning no. If they mess up on their own, you're not mechuyev to fix it. To whether you can fool them in the first place, a different story. But if they mess up on their own, I'm saying, let's say, what's it called? Target sends you two of something instead of 1. They messed up. Are you mechuyev to return it, maker? Then you're not mechuyev to do it. The Beragoyla says you should make a kiddush Hashem by doing that. You should make a kiddush Hashem. The problem is very difficult nowadays to make a kiddush Hashem. What are you doing? You're doing through making kiddush Hashem through an email.
I bought a bag once at TJ Maxx.
Why not? There's a person who's answering that email.
But they don't know you're Jewish. Oh, that's it.
And I came home. There were 6 ties in the bag.
All right.
He told me if you go in person to return it.
Whichever. We got Dr.
You just thought they were your brothers. You didn't know the difference.
Yeah. So I don't know. So that's okay. Whatever. But we got to try and be more honest. I actually was going to start my taxes today.
You didn't start yet.
But now I'm going to wait a few days till this Orchos Tzadikim wears off. Maybe I don't know. No, chas v'shalom. Okay. Anyways, all right. Have yourselves a fine night. Those are the Bali Musa. All right. Okay. So now we're on Chaf Aleph from the base. Chaf Aleph from base towards the bottom. Yeah. So we said we're going to try. We're doing what you said, Doc, to try and say what goes on the daf before the daf, right? So anyway, so tonight's daf, we're going to continue with the shaila of whether when a husband nullifies his wife's nizirus, is it megas gayas or me'akar akar? Meaning, halfway through the nizirus, he finds out that she's a nazir, so he nullifies it. The question is, do the first 15 days count as nazir, or do we say no, retroactively it's done? So we have that's going to be on the bottom of the base, and then on Amud Aleph all the way down, the Gemara is going to end up saying that we go with megas gayas. Then the Gemara is on Amud base is going to be, there's a shaila Marzutra had that if somebody makes a neder based on something else, meaning if you make a neder on a korban, and then does that mean that you're making it also for you to eat? Meaning if you say my cholent's going to be like this korban, so that korban till it's shechted is awesome. But once it gets shechted, it becomes mutter. So does that mean that you meant to temporarily aser your food, and then eventually it will become mutter just like a korban, or did you just mean that you go with the beginning of it, which was that it's a korban now, it's aser, so it's going to remain aser, right? And then the last part of the daf talks about, on Amud base, talks about different terminologies, because we've been saying that if the husband says, I'm a nazir, and the wife says, ani, or the opposite. What happens if you use another lashon that's like, I am exactly like you, or I'm in your footsteps? Does that change anything? Does that make it that they're mamish like a nazir, or not? Right? And then in the last part of daf, right before the Mishnah, is exactly what is in the end of the and on the end of our Mishnah, we said that he said va'at. Was he asking a question or not? Meaning when the husband says, I'm becoming a nazir, and it says va'at, and you, is that a question or a statement? Depending on whether it's a question or a statement, can be how strong a nazir she is if she taka accepts, if she answers yes or no. Okay, so that's basically the daf. That's basically what's going to be tonight's stuff. So Toshima, we're about 10 lines up from the bottom. Chafala from the base. Yeah, so Toshima. Ha'isha shenadra bin nazir. Again, we're trying to prove now whether when a husband nullifies his wife's nizirus, is it totally uprooted, limafreya, from the beginning now, it did not exist? Or do we say, no, it existed until he nullified it, and then after that, once he nullified it, it doesn't exist, which Akiva had his question on yesterday. What, well, no, we're saying that maybe he didn't know she was a nazir. He was, let's say he was out of town for a couple of weeks. But yeah, theoretically, it would be that day. Then it would have to be. We're not going to say it. It could be segment. It could be up to a day, right? At the minimum, it could be a day. So Toshima, no, it could be on the standard case. The maximum is a day. But if he wasn't around,
From when he found out.
It could be only a day. Correct.
Till the sundown.
Yeah, well, it could be right. It could be a few seconds. Right? So Toshima, Ha'isha shenadr ben nazir. So a woman, she made a neder that she's a nazir, and then she went to drink wine, mason, and she went to become tamei mace. So obviously she's doing something wrong, right? She became a nazir and she just totally ignored it. And she's drinking the wine and she's becoming tamei mace. She's chayiv malchus, right? Because she's over on lavim in the Torah. So hey, tell me what's the case? If it's somewhere where the Baal did not nullify it, do I need to say that? What's the chiddush? She made herself a nazir and then she went and drank wine and became tamei. So of course she's chayav malchus. Well, what's the chiddush? Ela pshita the hafer labala must be that the husband did nullify it, right? So since the husband nullified it, right? So then now we have to figure out if he nullified it. So then why is she chayav if she drank wine? He's talking that the Baal Miyakar Akar. So if you hold that when the husband nullifies the nizirus, it gets totally uprooted from the beginning. Why is she sefegas again? Literally means she absorbs. Why is she absorbing 40? Right? She's again. If you say that when a husband nullifies it, he nullifies it from the beginning. So she was never in nazira. So she drank wine. Big deal. It was the husband knocked it out. So it must be elolav shmamino bal megas gayas. It must be that that's not the case. The way it works is that when the husband nullifies it, from then and on, she's no longer a nazir. But what she did yesterday, she is a nazir. So if yesterday she was a nazir or nazira, and then she drank wine, so that's why she's chayiv. Right? So it seems to be a pretty strong raya that it has to be megas gayas, that it's only from then. Again, megas gayas means that it's cut, right? It's another nazir one, because to be guys is the hair. That's for you, Gersh. Right? To be guys is the hair is that you don't shave it down. So megas gayas means it's not cut up. Either
when she gets malchus, she has to have asra.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to warn her what she's doing is wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not he. No, but you need Adam also.
No, I'm saying somebody, and I'm saying not him. I'm saying, but somebody needs to. Adam need to warn her before she's going to get malchus.
Correct. warn her with Adim and tell her the right punishment if you really want to get technical.
I do, because I just want to,
So anyway, so that's what we're saying. But l'chara, that means if she's chayav malchus, that means we say megas gayas. So Gemara says lo'ila meimalach baal b'yakar akar. So really, we say that the baal is oikered. Umashum de katani seifa, and because it says the seifa heifer la baila v'hi la yada. Let's say the baal was made for it, but she didn't know about it. She does not get malchus, meaning even though we had this once before, even though she doesn't want to, she thinks she's doing an isser, right? Meaning she didn't know her husband nullified it. She's eating, she became a nazir, then she decides to rebel, and then she is drinking wine, and then she finds out her whole rebelliousness is out the window because her husband nullified her nizirus. So she still doesn't get malchus, even though she thought she was doing an isser with the hasra and everything. David, right?
Person eats a cheeseburger, not no.
Correct. So right. So that's mamish. This is all going to be tomorrow's daf. Tomorrow's daf is an exciting daf. A lot of hashkafa in tomorrow's daf, right? So either way, so since the Gemara is saying that the seifa has to say that she's not getting malchus, so therefore the Reisha also said it. So Tana on Talmud Aleph now Tamanami Reisha Sefeges. So therefore the Reisha said that it also the Reisha also says that it works.
It's Yaakov. I didn't ask this before, but in general, how does a woman ever get malchus for if it calls man that her husband can be made for love? Isn't it asra b'safik? According to my name, asra b'safik now is loish me'asra. Because if he could always be made for it, you can never say it's asra. It's asra suffix always. Calls
Till
man
after
you have to
30
be
days,
made.
No,
right?
at the time it's not.
That's
a
my
suffix.
question. Yes.
Why? That's what Aaron asked this morning. Till 30 days, it should always be a
But
suffix.
it's not a suffix. No, it's not a suffix.
The husband could always be made for it.
Yeah, that's
No,
Lema
you don't hear,
Freya.
you didn't
That's
hear.
Lema Freya.
Only if you didn't hear
Okay.
about it. You're assuming if the
Okay.
husband's on a business trip. You're saying in a case where the husband's not home.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't
Okay.
even
Or
listen to his
whatever.
wife
No,
anyway.
I'm
He might
saying
not
in
even know.
general.
Well,
At
she
the-
made
let's
the
say day
nigga
of.
during the Super Bowl. Okay, so he never heard it.
Or the first day she's a nazir, in a zero, and you're able to be made for that first day, right? You have
You mean
24 hours.
so on the first day at least?
Yeah,
there should be
yeah,
no
I'm
asra.
asking. And then she goes out and you give her asra and she wants to drink wine. There are cases, you can come up with cases.
That's
It's
true.
asra suffix, telling them up
But
like
to Yaakov, you have a Nazir b'beis hakvaros. The person wasn't a Nazir yet. You have to get Hasra before you even do the Amira of becoming a Nazir.
Before
A
again,
person
what are you
becomes a
saying?
Nazir. A person becomes a Nazir in the Beis Hakvaros, so they have to get Hasra before they even accept upon themselves to become a
No,
Nazir.
but he's not a nuzzer until he leaves.
Well, isn't that where we said the case?
He's not a nuzzer until he leaves.
We
Right.
need
Until
to- what did we
that's-
say there?
we said he,
Yeah, but he has to get
has
Asra
leave
before.
to get it to count.
Until he walks out of the Beis HaKvaros.
Right.
No, but we said there was a case if they warned him. Didn't we say there was a case where they warned him in the base of don't do it?
Before he's Makabel the Nazirs?
Yeah, there was a case like that. Don't ask me what more than that, but
I
that's
remember.
what there was a case like that.
The one
But
that
it
they
was
brought him in the box.
Okay.
Well, it had to do with the Meiser, Tziyaka. It was the Meiser walking in
Oh,
that's
full
considered
house.
the
Right.
Meiser. That was the Shrek. It was the Tysus.
That was when he walked out of the base of cars and then walked back in.
No, even in the base of ours itself, there was a case. No,
But
I don't
afterwards,
remember.
he said that it wasn't Chal until he walked out. Wasn't that the maskana of that whole?
that was a different Gemara. I thought that was a
Oh,
different
So
Gemara.
I'm,
but I
then
don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm mistaken.
Either way, Tziyaka, I just never. It's a
I
few
hear it. I
blocks.
could see.
I think your definition of Hasra suffix is a little bit off. Hasra
Wow.
suffix sounds like the Hasra it's a suffix on the Hasra. Here it's not the suffix, it's a vada. The question is if the whole case itself is considered valid.
Well,
Hasra
will I get
itself is
punished for this
valid.
or not?
But the
I'm afraid I'm
Hasra
not gonna get
is
punished. How
valid.
can you say-
The person is doing something wrong if they're a Nazir. They may not be a Nazir. In the end, Lemafreya backwards retroactive, but the Hasra itself On the case itself.
No, but
is-
I don't know. I'm not sure. It could.
I
be
don't
that
think
you
you're
have to
doing anything
consider
wrong.
Asra Safin.
You're not doing anything wrong. You don't get you don't get
Tysus
malchus.
asks your question in 3 different places.
I mean, at the
One
time you're
is
doing something
Marcus
wrong.
and somewhere else.
If
On this
Ma'akar
Gemara,
Akar,
yes.
did nothing wrong.
Tysus answers similar to Parrots, but one of the Tysus gives 2 answers. One of them is that you don't call something a straw suffix on something that may happen in the future. If right now she's a nazir, then it's Hasras Vadai. Because something may happen to uproot it doesn't change its status.
I hear. Okay, yeah, but that's okay. Then.
Well, if
Yeah, I
Afar
don't know.
already happened, it's not Hasra at all.
Gershon, I would
There's
say I
no
agree
issue.
with you, but that would be a little too much for me. So
That would be the second time in this cycle.
No,
yeah,
but Peretz, if you say that,
sorry.
Peretz, if you say you agree, then he'll stop asking. He'll just go, "Oh."
Gershon, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Well, actually, he was
I'm-
answering. He was answering. Actually, he was answering. That wasn't a question. No, it's very good. That's very good. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So okay, post them on a Mokum, Gershon, or you can't post. Give it to somebody who could post and let them post. Yeah. Anyway, so that's again, again, we're saying the same thing that we've said many times, that the reason why I use the lashon of Saivigas Arabayim is because we wanted to make sure that the brisa is aligned and the ratio sounds the same as the sefer. Fine. Right. This next one is again a total repeat. So Toshima, this is raya number 4. Toshima ha'isha shenadra benazir v'nitmes. So now as a woman, she became a nizira, and she became tamei. So now she needs to bring korbanos. Right, and then the husband is made for it. He figures he's going to be made for it. He saves himself a few dollars on the korbanos, right? Which we will see in tomorrow's daf whether that actually works or not.
No, it's ours, not his.
What do you mean? But the shilas is he mechuyev to it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow's daf. Yeah, tomorrow's are the next days. It's shilas is he mechuyev to provide his wife for korbanos. Is that a deal in the ksuba or not? Right. It's in the shilas is that part of the ksuba. But either way, so again, she became tamei, and then the husband was made for it. So now, what do you do with these korbanos? So maybe mavia chatas ha'oif. Right, she has to bring the chatas ha'oif. Ve'ena mavia oilas ha'oif. So she brings the chatas. She doesn't bring the oila. Hisagdaita Baal Megas Gaias. If you say that the Baal he's only making it nullified from here on in to Tesi Nami oilas ha'oif, then she should also bring the oilas ha'oif. Why? She was meaning. Let's say again, using our 15-day example, she became a Nazir while he was on a business trip. She's a Nazir for 15 days, and in those 15 days, she became tamei. The guy comes home and says, "What happened here?" She became a Nazira, and she became tamei. So he says, "Okay, no problem. I'm knocking out the Nazirus." So the Mishnah says that she has to bring the chatas ha'oif. The chatas, she does not have to bring the oil, right? Now, why? If it's Mega's guy, if it's Miyaka Akar,
What does she have to bring anything?
so then if it's Miyaka Akar, 1 second, let's do the God is going one way. If she says if we say Mega's guy she was a full Nazira, right? So she should have to bring both the Oila and the Chatas, right? Ve'ela, so the Gemara answers, Ve'ela mai Miyaka Akar. So what are you saying? That it must be uprooted it. Okay, so he uprooted it, so then why is she even bringing the Chatas? Right, that means she wasn't a Nazira when it happened, right? He retroactively knocks the whole thing out. So chatas are nami like taisi. Right. Either bring both korbanos, or don't bring it, or don't. Right. Either way, so Gemara says, and this we had a few times. V'chanami, you're right. V'hamani Rebbe Lazar Kfar. This is Rebbe Lazar Kfar. The Tani Rebbe Lazar Kfar. But Rebbe Aimer matam aloymer me'asher chata ala nefesh. When it says that the person, a nazir that becomes tamei, has to bring korbanos because they did a chet ala nefesh. What kind of nefesh? What chet did they do? Because a nazir caused himself pain from not having wine, so then he's called a chayte. And it's a kavachamer. This guy who only stopped himself, he only caused himself pain from not having wine, is considered a chayte. If he's mitzayir himself from everything, from all types of foods, meaning if somebody does that, right, then it goes without saying that he's doing something wrong. So basically, like you said, Rebbe Elazar Kfar holds that any Nazir has to bring a chatas having nothing to do with whether they're tamei or not, because they did something wrong. They did something wrong by preventing themselves from being nene from the Rabbeinu Shalom's things. So Mamelo that did a chet. So then what?
She wasn't a Nazir.
She was a Nazir.
Right?
Yeah, but for those few days, she caused herself pain
Pain by
from
not
not
drinking
being
wine?
able to drink wine. So she did a chet.
So,
And you,
see, Yaakov,
doesn't
somebody
like
who-
wine in the first place.
I don't like
Well,
wine.
you
Don't
should
worry.
be
I make it up. I make it up without not with all of
But
Hashem's
saying
other
if
foods.
you became,
All right.
so
no, if the lady doesn't
somebody who
like
has
wine,
no eating problems, he says, I'm not eating ice cream for 30 days. Does he have to bring a korban? Why did he stop eating ice cream? Why didn't he have
I don't know.
steak? Why didn't he have? He makes it that I'm not eating steak, so he should bring a korban. What's
Why?
that to do with dying?
Why? Because it does.
No,
'Cause-
I'm sorry, man.
but no, he's saying why not? If you withhold yourself from anything of
He's saying
yeah.
that's the
so
reason.
Shai
He
should
says
bring a carbon every day.
that was our
if you,
big question.
if you make a neder, not if you don't stop off at Doma when you come home from work, so good, you didn't go to Doma. But if you make a neder, you're not going there.
If you have a minig, that becomes another, right? We said that also.
no, you do a beli neder. Nobody's doing
So
it.
he
in a
stopped eating
neder.
anything beli nether. That's what he did.
Everybody eats something. You're not making a neder. If I didn't have steak tonight for supper, doesn't mean that I'm making
No,
a
Shai
neder.
stopped eating anything besides bread.
I don't-
That was it. That wasn't that. It was beli nether.
I'm assuming it was beli neder. Yes, I'm assuming it was beli neder. I don't know. I don't know the answer to this question. I don't know. Does this mean you're mechuyev to go to? I mean, I missed the smorgasbord at a Sichitzuk dinner. I see parents is outside the white shop. I missed it, right? Because of learning with the island, right? So now did I do something wrong?
If you think you're getting any schar for missing
I
that,
know. No. Parents, you're not getting subbed. Yeah.
Could
I
you
wasn't.
say-
It was a Sichitzuk dinner in the white shop. It's not okay. I'm asking. But let's say it's a big one, right? That's a chasana. You don't go to the shmor, right? You're giving up a lot of good food.
Could you say maybe it's B'davka by nizirus? For people
Why?
think of nizirus. Hold on.
That's not what Belezer Kafir says. He's
Give me a
Tana, yeah?
second.
He's a
Yeah.
Go
Tana.
ahead.
Okay. Hold
Go
on,
ahead.
relax. Nizirus people think of as the Tesefes Kedusha. But he's saying
Yeah.
there are other ways to be Moisef Kedusha than being Mitzar yourself. Asceticism isn't the
but-
ideal Tesefes Kedusha. Stamazai, just to say I'm not eating meat for 30 days, that's fine. Okay, that's not such a tsar. But when you think you're being Moisef Kedusha, what you end up doing really is just being Mitzar yourself. That's something else.
Okay, but okay, I hear what you're saying, but then you have the
Maybe.
kasha. I'm saying then you have another kasha, because why are you supposed to be a nazir? Because you see a saita. So stop drinking because you see a saita, right? So
Yeah,
then
such a
you-
person doesn't think of it. Such a person doesn't
No, but
necessarily
then
think
there's
of it as
a
tsar,
very good reason to stay away from wine.
right? It
So-
doesn't mean
so
become a
how are you
nazir.
getting punished? How are you getting punished for that?
Maybe the fact
That doesn't mean
it's
become a
also
nazir.
implies there's something in him.
That's deep. Okay, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Ich weiß nicht. Now, what about you saying that the Sudas arrive, what do you call it? The Tainus arrivid is better. Right? You know what the Tainus arrivid is? I cannot do the Tainus arrivid. I say I'm gonna do it 3 times a day. I cannot do it.
What is that? What is that?
It's to leave over some food that you really like and don't finish it. The Mishnah Berurah says like big stuff. It's better than fasting. You know what? I'm a
Yaakov,
writer.
so don't worry,
Depends.
because Rav Steinman never did it either. Because
Really?
your same as Rav Steinman, don't worry.
Rav Steinman never did it
But
either.
Siava, it really depends. I mean, how big you make. You know what I mean? Like, does that mean you should make a 7-bone rib roast when you're a little bit hungry?
I don't know what it means. I don't know exactly, but what it does mean is when you're enjoying a geschmack of food, Mishnah Berurah says stop eating and leave some over. And that tsar that you're causing yourself is better than a tinus. And trust me, I am a proof to that because I cannot stop. I'd rather fast. I have an easier time fasting than doing this. So I'm mamish haraya. I'm mamish haraya. So you're saying do that instead of becoming a nazir. Okay, maybe. Okay, last raya to this. Toshima first wide line. So Tashima, the Tanya Behedya, again, this is the second time that the last raya, when it says we have one openly and you cannot slug it up, right?
Well, here, this has to be the last raya, because the previous raya was a good raya. The only way of learning the previous Mishnah is to say Miyakar Akar, and it's Rav Elazar Kfar.
Right.
If it's Megas Gayas, then you should bring Oil Sa'if.
Yeah, but the problem is that we're proving now this next one is going to be Megas Gaius.
But
So it's
it has
Taisus.
to be, otherwise, either way, it has to be
I mean,
the last
otherwise
raya.
you already have a raya. That's what you said.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a big.
Yeah,
part.
that's Taisus.
Correct. That's Tosis. That's Tosis. We have L'chayra. We're ending off. It's a Nazir, right? Akiva, this is for Nazir, right? Look, right. What?
Regular Gemara would never present it that way. Not that it would be. You'd have to say it's Machlokes Tanaim.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, basically, what
it's
Gershon
not how
is
Shas is written.
Yeah. So when Gershon was saying that right now the Gemara says the only way to understand this brisa, if the woman becomes tamei and then the husband nullifies it, the only way to understand that brisa is what's a Mishnah really is to say that it's miyakar akar from the beginning, and the only reason why she has to bring a korban chatas because she did this chet by making herself into a nizirus. And that's a chet. That's the only way to understand it. So l'chayra, the Gemara is coming out that it's miyakar akar, not megas gayis. Now the Gemara is going to bring a raya of megas gayis. And now where does that leave us? Right? Okay, so Tashima, the Tanya Behed, Yohaisha Shanadar ben Nazir. A woman made herself that she unto a nazir. V'shama chaverta v'amravani, and her friend heard, and she said, "Me too." Uba baila shel rishayna, and the husband of the first one came v'hafrala and nullified it. So he muteres v'chaverta asura. She is mutter, and her friend is aser. So now this is the Bach puts it out of it puts
Why?
this later, but
she's
mutter because her husband nullified it. The friend is aser.
well, the friend relies on her. We had a Gemara yesterday.
Correct. So Shemami no, right? So Naphtali is saying what she should. We said that the second Nazira piggybacks on the first, right? And she should be negated. So Shemami no, that the brisa doesn't say that. Must
what about
be.
the other brisa?
One second, Shemami no, Baal Megas Gaius.
What about the brisa from yesterday?
We already asked that. We asked from that, and then we had an answer that it didn't really mean it. But here, the only way to understand this is Baal Megas Gaius, meaning what happened here? That the first husband was mater her nizirus, fine. Now the second husband, I'm sorry, this second husband didn't do anything. The next lady, the second lady, should l'chayra follow the first lady. If the first lady's out, and then the second lady's out, right? No, but that's not what we're saying. We're saying the second lady still has to keep nizirus. Why? Because the original nizirus still stands, meaning it was Megas Gaius. So let's say it was on day 15 that it got nullified. The first 15 days, she was a nizirus. So since she was a nizirah, then that nizirah still stands. So that second woman who's following in the first woman's footsteps doesn't have the way out. Her nizirah started when this other woman's nizirah started. The only way her nizirah gets out is if the first woman's total nizirah gets totally wiped away.
Or both
Right?
husbands.
One
Or both husbands.
Or both
let's
husbands.
forget women for a minute.
The people will line up for that.
You make yourself a nazir. I say ani, and Moshe says ani. Right? You made yourself a nazir.
Yes.
Moshe, I say ani. Moshe
Correct.
says ani.
Yeah.
Says ani. You go ahead and be matter your nether.
Correct, but that means mine goes back retroactive.
Why is it? What's it? A matter. What about? Why don't we have machlokes?
That's a different. That we already.
Guys, we had that also. Probably.
We did.
Right.
Good, but good. So then
And
you
why
have
is
to, whatever it is, if you're going to say that everybody follows like dominoes, then you have to say it's me'akar akar, right? If it's not, if they don't follow like dominoes, then it's not
I'm
me'akar
just saying
akar.
that the domino effect has nothing to do with it.
It does,
It's
because
the way it became a nazir.
no, you said you're going to be like me, right? So you're going to be like me. So now I uprooted it. So now you're like me, so yours is uprooted too. But if my uprooting only happens 2 weeks later, and the first 2 weeks it was not uprooted, you followed me when I became a nazir. So you're stuck still being a nazir.
What's bothering me is that this domino effect applies
only if you say
no. What's that?
Yeah.
This domino effect applies not in cases of Baal and women and mafir. This applies in a bunch of cases, men only, men, women. Yeah. It applies to a bunch of cases.
Yeah.
This rule over here, only that domino effect, that rule should be consistent. This rule where a husband
No,
is
it
made
could be-
for a
it could be
neder
with
is a separate
It's,
thing.
no, no. A husband being made for the wife is megas guy is on his own. It could be again. I don't remember, of course, but on his own, it could be that it's not. That it's miyakaraka. We do say that when a chacham. is
Tell you, there
matir
could be a
neder-
difference between heter and afara.
Liner, who's
Correct.
Moshe?
Was about this Moshe
Feigenbaum.
Feigenbaum's here.
Oh, okay, that's what bothered me.
No problem.
He wasn't referring to your father, Peretz, even though he's sitting in his house. All right. Anyway, the difference between mefer and matir neder. When a chacham is matir somebody's neder, he maters it retroactive. That's all. That's the way it works.
Well, that's a shaila.
Right.
Charata, no? Charata is a shaila, no?
Charata is a shaila, but when a chacham's matir, it's definitely retroactive. And
Both of
mefer is not retroactive.
Both of
But I'm
them?
just saying the
Which is what we're
domino
saying
effect
here.
is one thing.
Correct.
That's-
Well, no, that's a different. No, a chacham has unlimited amount of time. Yeah, because the whole hafar is that a husband has a let's call it a power or whatever. Violence. The chacham is that you go into the phone and you're saying, "I never meant to be your Rachman."
Rachman was very involved with the violence of that.
Yeah.
I'm checking. A gets the Torah, what happened to B, the other one?
Knocked out.
Hatorah from who? From chacham. So you're
Knocked
right.
out.
So Dr. Scar is saying if the first woman gets a hatorah from a chacham, then taka the second one will be out 100%.
Why? She
Because
intended
that's the way hatorah works. Hatorah works that when she says ani, if she said ani,
Right.
if
That's
she
what I'm
says
talking
ani,
about, right.
she follows in the footsteps of the person before her.
It's a good deal.
Yeah. Okay, so Reb Shimon Oimer.
It's mashma in the taich of the words. Hatara means untying. If someone ties a knot and you untie it, there's no knot there. Afara
Right.
means erasing something. It was originally written. You just erased it.
No,
Right,
that's
okay,
how it doesn't go
yeah.
with Megas guys.
Yeah.
Afar doesn't go
What?
with Megas guys. Then.
All
What
right.
you just said doesn't work.
What?
If you're erasing, it can't be Megas guys.
Why?
Because
It
Megas
was
guys
always
says it was
there.
here the last 15 days.
Yes, and it was written there the last 50 days. I just erased it now.
But it was
It's
there.
erased. It's erased. Okay, whatever it is. Let's go back to. Well, on such a short daf, we have to finish before 9:30. All right, because tomorrow night's daf is a regular standard daf, and it's tomorrow night's stuff. The sparks will fly with the hashkafa. Yeah, Reb Shimon Aimer. Reb Shimon says, yeah. Im Amra now Tosfos says somebody wanted to be shining here in the daf, so maybe the rush. Reb Shimon Aimer, he's just adding. He's not disagreeing.
It's a machlokes. I think it's a machlokes.
Well, everything is a machlokes. Yeah, but
No, I think Taisa says he's just adding. Well, it's two truths. I think Taisa says it's two truths.
I don't remember. I only remember one. Once Reb Shimon, meaning the point of contention here is normally Reb Shimon Aimer means that he's disagreeing, right?
Right.
If it would be
Taisa
Amar
brings
Reb
down a
Shimon,
machlokes in that.
right? If it was Amar Reb Shimon, so he's adding something. Okay, so let's go with the simple way, which is that he's just adding. Reb Shimon Aimer, Amar Allah Hareni K'Moisei. If she said, she didn't say ani, she said I am like you, then shtei and mutaris. Then they're both mutter. You hear that, Naftali? Then they're mutter. Right?
Regardless.
Correct. Whether we say me'akarok or megas guys, if she said a lashon of I am like you, then hers also gets nixed, but only halfway through, obviously, only halfway through, right? Because she said I'm like you. Okay, good. So now on Talmud Beis. So now here we have this shaila. Marzucha had the shaila. Marzucha braid the Ramari Omar. Hi hainu de Rami Bar Chama. Maybe this is meaning this question of not the question, but the teretz that we just said, that if the husband's mefer, then his wife goes off, and not the second one, maybe could also answer this question Rami Bar Chama had. The boy Rami Bar Chama had a shaila. Hareya like basar zevach shelamim. Let's say a guy says that this takes this soda, and he says this soda is also to me like the meat of a shelamim. Now the din of a shelamim is that it gets eaten eventually by humans. It's just after the zrikas adam, after the dam gets spilled on the mizbeach. So then this orange soda would become the shlamim becomes mutter after the zrikas dam. So now when the guy said that this orange soda is going to be like a korban shlamim, does that mean korban shlamim right now? In which case the korban shlamim is aser now, because it was before the blood was on the mizbeach, and therefore it remains like that forever. Or did he mean to say no? Right now it's aser, but eventually it will become mutter, the same way a korban shlamim becomes mutter. So that was.
Didn't we have this exact same shaila in Durham?
Yes,
Gemara
this
is
is a good. This is a
exact
Gemara
same
in the Daf.
style.
Yes. Now, of course, I don't remember the Daf, but I'll just give a little
Says on-
cheat.
says on
Yud
the
Aleph
side.
Amud Aleph there, Akiva.
Mention.
Right? So, Mao, so what's the din? Ki matvis inish, meikara matvis, when a person grabs, this is called a hatfasa. Hatfasa means that the way you're making something also is by saying, whatever status this has, I'm being typhus and I'm grabbing it onto this. So you're saying this orange soda, I wanted to grab onto the korban and take on the status of the korban. So ki matvis inish be ikara matvis, went on the first thing that the person said, which is another interesting lashon. It's none from the word signing, cold. Is it going on the cold thing, right? So Memela, the same thing that what Reb Shimon just said, that there's a difference between a woman saying I and I'm following in by you, meaning if you're saying I, so I means that you're going to be what this lady was, b'shas she became the nazir. Right, but even though later she becomes mutter, that doesn't make a difference, right? If she says I'm like you, then it will be she'll follow with her exactly. So we're going to try and say the same thing, meaning the second lady is the same thing as this soda with the korban shelamim, right? Because she said that the lady said she's going to be a nazir like the first one. Then that lady became mutter because her husband nullified. Right, so the same thing with the korban shelamim. I said this orange soda is going to be like a korban shelamim. That korban shelamim is going to be mutter eventually. So is it like the initial isser, or do we say that it follows through the regular way? So
that's not guaranteed by neither one is guaranteed, but one of them is oimid is supposed to be mutter. You're supposed to have zrikas dam. You're not supposed to have hafaras nedarim on a woman.
Right. So I think that's the Gemara's teretz. I think if when I'm understanding what you're saying, it seems like that's a Gemara's teretz in another way. So let's see. Me dummy. Right. The Gemara says, is it similar? You can't compare it to cases. Hasam. Since the guy said that this orange soda is on me like a basar zevach shlamim, like a korban shlamim. Avagad la'acha shenizra tamei matzi achalei. Even though after the blood is going to be sprinkled on the mizbeach, you're even allowed to eat it outside the Beis HaMikdash, but Mikdash Kaddish, but the meat is still Kaddish, right? So therefore, he would think that this thing, the kedusha, still stay. Meaning the meat is always Kaddish by the korban shlam, right? It's not like it's losing its kedusha. It just takes a step down that you can take it out of the Beis HaMikdash. It's still always Kaddish. If you say that she goes with the second thing once it's cold, meaning when it changes, so then the husband, already nullified it. So if the husband nullified the original nizirus, then her should also go. Meaning basically what the Gemara wanted to compare nazir to the kachim, shlamim, right? Because both eventually became mutter, at least in this case. And the Gemara is saying it's not true. The shlamim is going to be kaddish forever. It's just once the blood is sprinkled, so it loses a little bit of its kedusha.
Should be a
right?
nazir forever?
No, meaning it's 30 days. But this nazira, she was making herself a nazira based on the first ladies. Okay, the first lady's nizirus became potter. Whatever, not potter, mutter. Whenever it became mutter, so she's following right behind, possibly. Right? So therefore, you can't compare the two cases. Again, one by kachim, by shlamim, it's an automatic, the kedusha staying there. By nazir, it's not necessarily automatic because her nizirus could be nullified. Right? And once it's nullified, since she's only a nazir because she said ani to the first lady, so then therefore it's not it might not necessarily follow. Ika da amri, hainu de Rami bar Chama vadai. And there are those that say no, it's vadai, it's definitely the same exact shaila. Right? Meaning, and whichever way you're going to paskin by the wife, by the second wife, with the second one with the nazir, you're going to paskin the same thing by the shlamim. Okay, fine. Amrullah hareini nazira beikveich mahu. If he says to her, what?
No, she's
Meaning she said Amrullah hareini nazira beikveich mahu. I'm being a nazir in your footsteps. Meaning I'm following your footsteps. That would, I guess, be the way to say it, right? Again, so far we had three ways. the second woman said ani, then the Reb Shimon said, if the second woman says, I'm kemoischa, I'm like you. Now the Gemara is asking, she says, I am going in your footsteps. So then what's the din? Hareni be'kveich be'kula milsa b'sharya. When she says, I'm following you in the entire thing. And since her husband mattered it, so I'm going right along with you. Whatever your stat, every day, I call you up, you check the WhatsApp status, right? Every day she checks the WhatsApp status. You a Nazir today? Oh, I'm a Nazir today. Today? Oh, your husband mattered it? Okay, so then I'm with you. Or we say, no, she's only in the footsteps before the husband mattered it, right? And after the husband mattered it, she's not. She stopped being a Nazir, even if the original woman's husband mattered it, Vasir, and she's Asa. Right? So again, the question is the same question as we've had, but the lashon of I'm going in your footsteps, is that considered like totally in the footsteps or only in the beginning? So Tashima. So now the Gemara is going to say that he's going to bring a raya from the wife and the husband and the wife being mater nedarim, being making themselves nazir, right? So we're going to say here that that's the same exact husband saying yes is the same as a woman saying I'm following in your footsteps, right? And that's why the Gemara is going to try to bring a raya from that, even though he's not saying anything about following in footsteps, but that's what the Gemara says. Yeah, so let's see. So Tashma Isha Shanadra, a woman made a nether. But Nazir, as a Nazir Vishama Bail, and her husband heard Amar Vani, and he says, and that's me too. So we said in the Mishnah, he's not allowed to be made, correct? Because again, his wife became a Nazir, and then he said Vani. Now, what's going to happen if he's made for his wife's nether? His becomes Mayfair automatically because he follows in her footsteps, since he only said Ani to her. Then if she is Mayfair, if he is made for her, then he automatically becomes nullified, and that means he's nullifying his own nizirus, which a person cannot do that, right? A person cannot nullify his own thing. So therefore, it doesn't work. If he would tell her, that it's only going in the ikr, meaning of the nizirus, but not anything else. Let the husband be made for her, but like him day, and let his stand. Meaning, if you're saying that following in the footsteps only works for the initial nizirus and that's it, so then let the husband be mater his wife's nether, and he's still a nazir, right? He has to keep it, right? Because again, we're saying that when he's following in her footsteps, he's only following in her footsteps in the initial nizirus, not anything that comes after that. No, the kula de milsa matris must be that no, when she says I'm following in your footsteps, it's going in the entire thing. He cannot be mefer. But a woman who's following in her friend's footsteps, she would have become mutter if the husband matters the nizirus. Because again, we're saying it has to be that when she says I'm going in your footsteps, she means she's going in her footsteps regardless, right? So then it says not a raya. And we said this teretz yesterday. Really, it goes with the ikr. And here, even the amra love ani. Once the husband tells the wife vani, that's as if he's being makayim it, right? We know that the din is that once the husband is makayim his wife's nether, then he can't be made for it anymore unless he's mater his kiyam. So we're saying when this guy's wife becomes a nazir and he says, and me too, that means he's approving, right? He's obviously approving of his wife's nizirus. So since he's approving of his wife's nizirus, so therefore he approved it. That's it. Now he can't be made for it anymore, right? Mitchell, but if he goes and asks a expert that he should take back his kiyum of her nizirus, then motzi mefer, then he's allowed to be mefer. And if not, then he can't. So we don't have a raya. We don't know which way to paskin with ikvech. Fine. Okay, last case in the Mishnah.
Why don't they say Teku?
I don't know. Some place they don't say. I don't know. See, the Ran in the Dharam, every time we had this type of Gemara, we'd end up saying in the Dharam we pass in Lechumra. Right here, it doesn't seem like the Tais was picked up like that. Okay.
It's Yaakov, it's not so
Yeah.
simple to paskin legabe nazir lechumra, because
Because of
you
the
might be
korbanos.
bringing a korban chumra
Right.
ba'azara. So it's you can't the round you can't do the same shtick the round did stand by Nadarim because the chumra doesn't affect anything.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't just right. You can't just yeah. Fine. Okay. So last Gemara. Hareini nazir va'at. A guy says, "I'm a nazir," and what about you? I mean, that's why we're teaching it now. But we're going to see it's not so simple. Hareini nazir va'at va'amra, and she says, "Amen." So now again, he says, "I'm a nazir," and he says, "You," and she says, "Amen." Mefer eshalah. Like we said, he can be made for her b'shaloi kayim, and his is still kayim because again, she's a nazir based on him, so he can be made for her, and his still stands. So when I ask Raminu, ask a stira, if he says Hareini nazir ve'at, he says to her, I'm a nazir. What about you? Ba'amra amen, and she says amen. Shneim asurim. They're both awesome. Bim lav, and if not, shneim mutarim. Then they're both mutter. Because he was tala his neder on her, right? So memela, so we have a stira because here we're saying that there can be no. It's either they're both asur or they're both mutter. When our Mishnah said no, he could stay as a nazir and she can't. So Rav Yehuda, says Tani. There's two ways to learn this also with the Taisvis. Amar Rav Yehuda Tani meifar at shalom v'shaloi kayim. The pashut, the way of reading this is that Rav Yehuda is saying, learn in the Brisa that it says meifar at shalom v'shaloi kayim, meaning it's missing. It just says shneim asurim shneim mutarim, but really what it's supposed to say is that he can be meifar his wife's and his can stand. So therefore, the Mishnah and the Brisa are the same. Abaye disagrees. Abaye Amar afilu tani Brisa. We could go with what the Brisa says, but going to Ka'amar law Hareini Nazir ve'at. It's a statement. He's saying I'm a Nazir and you, right? Which is like he's telling his wife, I'm going to be a Nazir and you too. The Katali Nidra Binidra. He basically made it Tali his neder and whether his wife is coming along with him. So therefore, so if they say what?
She says no way.
Then if she says no, then it's out, right? So meaning if her nizirus is out, if he's made for her nizirus, his is also out. Meaning they have to be together. It's a romantic nizirus. According to the way Abai is learning the Brisa, it's a romantic nizirus. He's like, I'm a nazir, you're a nazir. If I'm a nazir, you're a nazir. If you're not a nazir, I'm not a nazir. Right? That's the way the Brisa is. On top of Aleph now. Umas Nisan. Oh yeah, that's true. It's Valentine's Day talk. Umas Nisan could go in. The Omar Allah, I got plenty of Valentine's Day shilas today. Umas Nisan could go in. The Omar Allah Hareini Nazir va'at mai. It was a question. The Mishnah is saying, I'm a nazir. Do you want to join or do you not? So then, by him asking, so it's clearly two independent nizirus. There's his nizirus and her nizirus. So therefore, he could be made for hers, and his could stand. Okay, stop.
They should have had learning tonight.
Who asked who?
See, they should have had learning tonight instead of having it by the Super
How can
Bowl.
he be made for?
Because this is a Goyish holiday.
That's
Say,
true.
Rav Aaron, that's why I did
It's
Nittelnach
a
tonight.
He
Goyish
asked her,
holiday.
how can he be made for?
Rav
He asked
Aaron,
her,
I
"Do you want
did
to be Nazir?"
Nittelnach, Rav Aaron.
How can he be made for?
Why? I didn't hear you.
I did Nittelnach tonight. I said
Oh,
no
good.
flowers.
Good, very
That he's
good.
okay with it.
Straight Nittelnach tonight.
And she said yes, but now he could be made for.
That
The
what more
shaila
does
is related to Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
It's a kasha in all these cases. That people asked, is it chukas agayim to buy something? I got a question. A few people asked me today. Is it chukas agayim to buy something for somebody for Valentine's Day?
Did
Guy
you
wanted to
explain
buy
to them that
flowers.
it's Saint Valentine's Day?
Yeah, but so what? I'm saying, does that mean? Meaning the olam that's celebrating it have any idea if there's a Saint Valentine?
Most of them do. They go to
No,
church.
just like Halloween. Nobody knows what Halloween is either.
Yeah, but
I
this
don't
is
know, I
different
saw
because they
somewhere
go
that
to
the
Who
church.
celebrates
Julian-
Halloween? Which Jew celebrates Halloween?
Well, that's a
According-
shot.
All the Jews who buy the discounted costumes after Halloween celebrate Halloween.
No, they don't celebrate
And-
Halloween. They're
Yes, they
celebrating.
do. They're
They're
happy
getting
that
new
there's Halloween.
costumes.
And
Because
the
if it's only Purim, they would
candy.
have to pay full price for the costumes. So they're happy this Halloween. Don't say they don't
That's the
celebrate
Jewish
Halloween.
way. That's the Jewish way of celebrating anything.
Tiago, I don't know if I'm medaic in what you said, but you didn't say their spouse. You said someone.
Yes, no, I am, because a guy wanted to buy flowers for the office.
That's different.
Oh, not for his
No.
Pelegesh?
What?
Yeah, we got ransom like a mindic.
He bought
Oh,
the,
yeah. Oh, Aaron's
bought the
on the
flowers-
plane. It's talking. Yeah, what are you saying? Aaron Kaplan's on a plane. Yeah, go ahead. What are you saying?
Answer them like a mindic. You got a deal on the roses. It's okay.
That's tomorrow's. That's tomorrow's shilas, and I've already deserved to buy tomorrow's flowers, Aaron. Right?
Wait, if it was Kukas
Something like
Agayim,
that.
would one have to put one's wife in the Kairim for the day?
What?
If it was Kukas Agayim, would one have to put one's wife
Thank
in
you.
the Kairim for the
you let us know how that works out, Gershon.
day? That's why I'm asking.
No, I'm
it
serious.
was-
Is it about deserved? I mean, I told the guy Garada, I said, don't bring the flowers today. Bring it tomorrow. I said to him, bring it before Valentine's Day. He says to me, today is Valentine's Day. I was like, oh, I botched that one. So I said, okay, so bring it tomorrow.
It's a Hallmark holiday, no?
Yes, it's became totally secularized. Like, it's the same shot. I guess it's the same shot as Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Not really. There's no Catholicism in Thanksgiving.
Well, no, there's a major thing that there's Avodah Zarah for Thanksgiving.
What?
Sure.
The original Thanksgiving had nothing to do with religion. The
There's
original.
no Avodah Zarah in Thanksgiving.
Sure, there is. There's the whole question if it's a thank you to their God. I'm saying the price can go through this. It's not push it. Not push it. That again, I think most places can say it's okay, but there are those that say that it was a holiday that had to do with their thanking their God and whatever. You eat turkey. I don't know how that ties into the thank you, but something like
Abraham
that.
Lincoln was the one who was miyasid it. It had nothing to do with God.
Abraham Lincoln, no, it was around before Abraham Lincoln.
No, he's the one who made it. a
Gershon,
holiday.
who are they thanking?
They're not thanking anyone. They're being thankful.
They're
who?
thanking God. They were religious people. They thanked God.
Yeah, but that's not what the holiday was for. It was to be thankful for unity, whichever God. It made no difference to Abraham Lincoln. It wasn't about God himself.
Pilgrims with the Indians?
That's why it became about the turkey and corn.
Okay, there's all sorts of svaras back and forth with this, but I can't believe we didn't fight this out by Thanksgiving.
I've never heard of this before. It's interesting.
Sure.
We were too busy eating turkey.
We have Shalom. Yeah.
Yeah, Peretz, is he still on or he is off?
So Yaakov, do you get asked on Christmas whether people could go eat Chinese?
Yeah. So the same Shiloh applies to New Year's.
Well, New Year's was also that was a Roman holiday.
So was Kratzman.
100%.
Kratzman was
I
pagan.
agree. Nobody's
Isn't
looking
Kratzman
for
your birthday?
That's the difference.
Tiago,
What?
isn't that your birthday?
What?
Kratzman?
Kratzman Chiv is my birthday.
Yeah,
But,
that's what I celebrate.
It's Yaakov.
yes.
Why in this Shaila is there no Shtika Kaida? This last Shaila of Gemara.
Shtika
If she says
Kaida.
Amen, if she says Amen, then it's good. If she doesn't say Amen, then it's not good. If she doesn't say Amen, why isn't there Shtika Kaida?
I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know enough of the rules about Shtika Kaida.
Well, if he makes a statement that includes someone and they're quiet, that's Shtika Kaida, no? The question wouldn't be, fine, I get that. If he asks a
I
question,
don't know if
she doesn't answer it.
that's not. They're not saying this is the truth. Meaning a shtika kaidah normally is like you did something and you were shaisik on that doing that the thing that has already been done. So you're being minded to that. Here, it's you wanting somebody to do something in the future. And what are you shaisik? You have to do something in the future for there to be a real like. Your shtika is not going to do a pu'ula. Nobody says that's true. Haidah in the past, not in the future.
Here.
It's about edus and emes, whatever. That's all in the past. It's not in the future.
I don't know. Is that the way it works?
I tell me where else do we say shtika kodesh? It's a huge chiddush to say it has to do with pu'ula in the future.
Right. I don't know. Not how it works. I'm saying shtika kaidah me, yeah. How are you saying it, Akiva? You're saying that.
I'm just saying all over Shas, shtika kaidah is just an edus. It takes the place of edus.
Right.
It doesn't say that you could go ahead and create a pu'ula in the future and make it that I'm also making myself a nizirus. That's a huge chiddush to say something like that. That's not how shtika works. Shtika kaidah normally works in Shas.
Right. It's Meaning you're being accused of something.
And your shtika is just being moided to what had happened, not that you could do something in the future. Dahainu being mazer yourself.
Right.
I don't know. I think the other way around it would work in general in marriage. If your wife asks you something and you don't respond, she would tie you for the next 20 years. You agreed to do it.
Women don't learn Gemara for a reason.
My wife is acting.
This is backwards logic for them.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Let me go see if I should feel guilty not going to the slichus of dinner now or not.
Tiago,
all right, Zagazim.
Tiago, you're very consistent, by the way.
What's that?
Because I registered for a Remind account in February 10th of 2021.
Wow. So I guess he's saying it's different times of the year I get to start feeling guilty.
Maybe, yeah. But I have no recollection of why it didn't work. But I registered for an account. And
Probably it didn't work because it wasn't worth the headache.
No, I feel like there was some other issues.
I think they max you out at 150.
But you're saying we can create 20 classes of 150.
That's what all the schools do. That's what YFR does.
Is that really? That's what
the schools, I
I'll
don't
try.
know what they have in Phoenix, but here they have, in Lakewood. I know in Lakewood, the truth is everything good comes out of Lakewood. But in Lakewood, they have whoever's on that particular bus schedule will get alerted when the buses leave, when there's coming, if they're coming late, they're not coming late.
But but will they let you do it every single day?
That's where I asked the expert for you to find out.
Okay, fine. No, I'm gonna double check. I'll check. But I already have an account.
Talking about, I keep on getting half the conversation.
Okay. Anyways, all right. Let me know.
Did he say this morning it costs
have a good
$900
one.
a month?
Yes, it does.
Who pays for that?
Leo.